burning bright in the night sky. Said we could get lost in this moment, coming alive in the nighttime. And oh no, close your eyes, let it all go, body and mind, burning bright in a dark sky.
Drivers will be renewing their passports and preparing for a trip to Seoul, Korea. For 15, the journey will end tonight. It is the regional semi-finals here for the USA region of the HyundaiN Virtual Cup, and our campaign takes another turn. We head to the Red Bull Ring and we head to Silverstone for another fantastic night of action. My name is Evan Dalton. It's a pleasure to be here alongside you, and as always, the fabulous Kieran McGinley joins me.
Yes, thank you very much, Evan. Yeah, great to be here. We saw some really good racing from them in the regional qualifiers. I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring their A game to in these semi-finals.
Yes, we will be running you through the format in a moment, folks, but the big number to look for here tonight is 5. The top 5 will advance, but more on that in a second. The big favourite coming into tonight, Kieran, I think, has to be Michael Menning.
Oh, absolutely. Clean sweeps all the way through. Fastest laps, pole positions, race win. He's looked comfortable, but you're only as good as your next race. If he can keep up that momentum, he's surely guaranteeing himself a spot.
Well, before we get into qualifying, before we get into racing action, we have a little bit of housekeeping to run you through to remind you what is at stake here in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. We are, of course, racing on the Assetto Corsa platform. The Hyundai Elantra N TC has been newly added to the sim for this competition. Total prize pool of $220,000. Our journey began on October 21st for the pre-qualification stage, and we moved on to the regional qualifiers, and that started on November 20th. We had all 4 regions race. The top 40 from each region has been cut down to 20 here for the regional semi-finals, which started yesterday on December 7th and moves on to tonight here on December 8th. The world final then will take place on January 11th live from the Super Coliseum in South Korea. The top 5 from tonight will be moving on to there. And of course, to confirm those dates for the regional semi-finals for you folks, December 7th for Europe was yesterday, of course. Tonight, December 8th here for USA, December 14th for the Korean region, and then December 15th for China. We have race 1 coming up with 15 minutes qualifying and 30-minute race. The bottom 5 from that will be eliminated. We then move on to race 2. It's a 10-minute qualifying followed by a shorter 20-minute race, and the top 5 with points combined from both will move on to that illustrious world final. So both races very, very important. And the world final, of course, taking place in this fine city. If you count the cities in Korea, this the biggest, and what a place it is. You can just see some of the fine skylines and some of the brilliant sights that the top 5 from tonight will be moving on to. And it is a wonderful place to be. Those in Korea might feel a little bit hard done by. They don't get to travel halfway across the world like our USA drivers tonight will, but it is definitely a worthy prize. And then the point system, of course, for tonight: 25 for the win, 20 for second, 16 for third, then it's 13 and 11, 10 if you finished in 6th and 9, 8, 7 and 6 down to 10th place. That's 5 for 11, 4 for 12, 3 for 13, 2 for 14 and 1 for 15. No points if you finish from 16th to 20th, and of course if you finish from 16th to 20th in the first race, you are eliminated anyways. We have bonus points on offer as well, 2 for the fastest lap and 3 for pole position. The total prize pool breakdown then: $104,000 in total, $7,705 per region. The Drivers' Championship worth a total of $62,400, and the Regional Championship each worth $11,000. And of course, if we haven't mentioned it enough, the top 20 will be heading to Seoul for the all-inclusive trip to the World Final. And then a little more regional breakdown for you folks. So if you've made it to this stage, you will win at least $70. So if you finish 20th, you're still getting something worth for coming here. $1,500 for the winner of tonight's action, then $1,700, $600, $500, all the way down the list to $85 for 19, and then of course $70 for 20th. Very nice prizes indeed, but you got to try hard to try and win those bigger numbers. And of course, your competitors for tonight, you've seen them in action across 2 days of regional qualifying. Michael Menning, Kurt Van Oltenreed, Jordan Johnson, Ricardo Rivera, Copono Patrick, Tyler Limsnuken, Braden Werner, Nicholas Iverson, Zach Doran, Paul Verbunen, Drew Swank, Jesse Hoffer, Thomas Toomey, Josh and Shane, Ross, Brad Lane, Sebastian Baez, Tyler Rosen, Aaron Berkey and Jonathan Moyer, the 20 competing here tonight. Where will they be competing? What will they be competing in? I'm going to hand it over to Kira to take you through your track and car information.
Thank you very much, Evan. Yes, we're here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, which is 4.3 kilometers with 10 turns in total. First opening in 1969 as a replacement for Zeltweg, which was a disused airfield. And whilst Zeltweg was very flat in places and overall uninspiring to the drivers, the Österreich rig first opened in 1969. The trip through the mountainous terrain and the undulation made it instantly a much more favourable alternative for Austria's racing. It fell off the F1 calendar after 2003 due to a dispute with anti-tobacco sponsorship, but it's since been back on the calendar once Red Bull bought it in 2011, back on the F1 calendar in 2014, and it's been a staple in the European portion of the Formula 1 calendar ever since. It also hosts MotoGP, the chicane being added up the run towards turn 3, for example, to slow the bikes down after a couple of scary incidents, but it's also hosted the GT Masters and the DTM, and has in the past operated the European Truck Racing Series and the European Le Mans Series to boot as well. And whilst it's a very short circuit, in 2017 they somehow managed to find 8 more metres by remeasuring it, otherwise they would have not changed any layout whatsoever. To take on the Austrian track then, we need a car, and we have the Hyundai Elantra N TC. It's a beautiful machinery with 350 brake horsepower underneath that front end engine. Top speed of 248 kilometres, 4.5 seconds to get to 0 to 100, and after this car made its debut in 2021, it won its class at the Nürburgring 24 Hours, and since then it's been a 3-time winner at the Nürburgring, a WTCR team and drivers champion in 2022, and taken drivers honours at the TCR World Tour in 2023. Its balance between performance and precision means that the Elantra N TC has become a true symbol of Hyundai's N's motorsport dominance in recent years. It's safe to say with these front-wheel drive cars, it's provided a good challenge for the drivers, but it's gone down very well for drivers. They feel very comfortable, it's very stable, we've seen that over the past few races, and we'll get to see the drivers take on the Elantra here at Austria for the first time of asking.
Thank you for that, Kieran. Brilliant breakdown on the track and car that we are competing in and at. Qualifying is underway then. We have 5 minutes to go. The virtual hills are well and truly alive with the sound of race cars. Michael Menning currently top of the order by almost 0.5 of a second ahead of Kurt Van Oltenried. Ricardo Rivera in 3rd and Quapono Patrick in 4th. Shane Ross in 5th, and that is a high-flying Shane Ross in 5th position. He, of course, qualified for this phase in the 15th spot. So if he finished 15th in the regional qualifiers, Kieran, and then managed to bag a top 5 finish tonight, that really would be an unreal comeback.
It would, and that's a driver who just about knows what to do to get through to the next stage, and that's nothing bad at all. It's almost like using a percentage of your power just to make sure you get yourself to that next stage. I actually said there in the preview, I got this wrong. I said there was 8 more metres found. I love this tyre warming trick though by Michael Menning though, by the way. Locking up all the tyres, getting all sorts of out of control just to put some heat into the tyres for the next couple of laps. I said they found 8 more metres. It's the opposite. They actually couldn't find 8 metres. It was 8 metres shorter, even though there were no track modifications made in 2017. So the track is one of the shortest, and it became so slightly shorter. But yes, Ricardo Rivera currently 2nd place at the moment in that number 53, about 0.5 a second ahead of Kurt Van Oltenried. And this is probably, this field of drivers, the US regional qualifiers, I'm sure you'll agree, Evan, gave us some fantastic racing. It was door to door. You know, there was contact, of course, but I think it is safe to say that door-to-door was right on the edge of what was really good racing. Gave us some fantastic racing, especially at Monza in the regional qualifiers. If you didn't watch that, obviously I'd say go and watch it, but don't leave us now because we're at the semi-final stage.
Yeah, Monza was an absolute cracker. It was really, really good racing for that 2nd place, and the drivers really went hell for leather, and I imagine it's going to be something similar tonight. Of course, we head to Silverstone after the Red Bull Ring here, 2 tracks that are very, very well known for their great racing in many different types of classes. The Red Bull Ring, known for some absolute classics in Formula 1 and in MotoGP. We're on board with Aaron Berkey then, heading in towards the Niki Lauda curve, renamed after his passing in 2019. The only Austrian to win the Austrian Grand Prix. He won in 1984 en route to his 3rd World Championship. Here was Kurt Van Oltenried rounding in towards turn number 3. This is of Remus. And Kurt Van Oltenried was very impressive in those regional qualifiers, Kieran. 3rd on day 1, 3rd on day 2. Overall, where did that put him? You might be inclined to think 3rd, but it was actually 2nd.
Yeah, and it just shows you the highlights of consistency. You get consistent results here, and you've got half a chance of making it through. Kurt's been very consistent with the pace, and what that means as well then, you know, the past couple of tracks is that he's very consistent. He doesn't seem to have a track that's weak yet, so that is a chance, that is an opportunity for him to better himself as well. He's only got to find less than half a tenth of a second to get himself onto the front row of the grid. And as Evan has mentioned before, 3 points up for grabs for pole position. Michael Menning is in pole position to get those points.
Yes, and you can really see the drivers with a bit of a creative interpretation on track limits. The game, or the simulator I should say, of course allows that, so absolutely no issues there in regards to that, but they really are finding every little exploitation as possible. That could come in nicely for the racing, because we might see too wide in corners, but we cannot necessarily get too wide if we were following the white line rule, so I'm all for it. We'll stick with it and see how we go. Here is Shane Ross rounding through the final corner in the number 8, currently in 6th place. Bit of a distance slipstream from the car in front. It's up towards the start-finish line. Is going to be an improvement for Shane Ross? There is. Absolutely, and it's 4th place for Shane Ross. Jordan Johnson improved to 7th as well, so Shane Ross, I tell you what, has done his homework so far here at the Red Bull Ring. He's lapping fantastically.
So far so good, and yeah, he really has set the fire underneath him, hasn't he, to really get himself there. He's 8 1/1000ths of a second quicker at the moment than Quapono Patrick, so you're already seeing these very close times up and down the field. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. And of course, with the track limits, it's all policed by Assetto Corsa itself. So whatever Assetto Corsa says is okay, that is okay for the drivers as well. And of course, that is where the motorsport DNA really comes into sim racing. It's really saying, what won't I be punished for? What will I be punished for? Where's the line in terms of in the simulator? And so I'm just going to be right up against that line and not go over it as close as I can. And that's part of motorsport.
It is. We have 15 seconds to go here in qualifying. We do have 2 minutes over, so every driver will get to complete their lap, unless it's the slowest lap of the Red Bull Ring in history. Kurt Van Altenried improves to 2nd place and will get one more bite of the cherry if he so pleases. Very nice lap from Kurt, goes well within 0.4 of a second of Michael Menning at the top of the order. There is a lot of traffic for him to work his way through. Here's Tyler Limsnuken, currently in 9th spot is Tyler, qualified for this phase with a 6th place finish, so he will be looking to improve upon his time. Quapono Patrick and Jordan Johnson are both done, as is Shane Ross, but that's a great lap from Shane Ross. There'll be no issues there. Tyler Limsnuken, a quick fix of the specs as he heads through Rauch and the Worth curve of turn number 6 and turn number 7, and then it's down towards the Jochen Rindt curve of turn number 9, and then the Red Bull Mobile curve of turn number 10. No Austrian legend named through this corner, although Red Bull, I suppose, an Austrian legend for some. Here is Tyler Limsnuken rounding for the final corner, number 54 on the machine. Is there going to be an improvement of the time for Limsnuken? I don't think so, no. Hasn't been able to improve there. Not many improvements across the board.
Not many, but Van Altenried did get closer to Michael Menning there, now under 0.4 of a second, as we watch on then Jordan Johnson making his way through in towards the next couple of corners, through towards turn 6 of Rauch, and then on towards turn 7 of Wirth, and coming up then for our 30-minute race in Austria. There's very many laps we could get out of that one, as Jordan Johnson then makes his way onwards and upwards, just shy of 7/10 away. He has got a checkered flag by his name, so we'll see if he carries on with this lap or if he decides to call it a day. He is carrying on with the lap as he makes it through in towards that final corner. We'll see if there is an improvement on this lap as he'll make his way onwards and upwards to the start-finish line. He's already got the checkered flag next to his name, so I don't think there's going to be an improvement. It won't register for that. That is qualifying done and dusted. It's Michael Menning who picks up the first points of the semi-final.
Yes, a brilliant qualifying from Michael Menning. 3 points to his name. We have a 30-minute race here coming up at the Austrian Grand Prix, but we won't have that until we have a brief word from one of our sponsors. No, we're going to the grid first. So does Michael Menning, who is on pole position. We will have a word from our sponsors, folks. It's just in due course. Kurt Van Houten-Reid in second. Then it is Ricardo Rivera in third. Shane Ross in fourth. Bono Patrick in fifth. Braden Werner in sixth. Jordan Johnson in seventh. Zach Doran in eighth. Tyler Lims-Lucan in ninth. And Nicholas Iverson in 10th. Aaron Berkey in 11th. Paul Verbunen in 12th. And Jesse Hoffart in 13th. And Sebastian Baez in 14th with Josh Ross in 15th. Drew Swank qualifying in 16th with Thomas Toomey in 17th, Brad Lane 18th, Jonathan Moyer 19th, and then Tyler Rosen last and in 20th place. Remember, bottom 5 will be eliminated, folks. Now, before we head to the main race, we will now have a quick word from one of our sponsors. So, we're getting ready to go on the grid here in the Red Bull Ring. 30 minutes coming up, Kieran. That's our longest formatted race here, the HyundaiN Virtual Cup so far. So these drivers have new waters to test.
New waters to test on the shortest place on the calendar, shortest track on the calendar, I should say, so far. So it's interesting to see. We'll see how the drivers handle it. There's only 10 corners, but take nothing away. This is a track that rewards consistency and rewards you not losing any momentum. That's going to be key if you want to make your way through this race. But for Michael Menning, he is looking to get himself up and away from the rest of the order. Similar to what we saw in Europe last night at Silverstone. If it happens behind him, he just is able to break away. In a world of good for him.
Now remember, folks, bottom 5 from this one will play no further part in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. The top 15 will all pick up points, and that might matter heading in to the final race in Silverstone. But we are on the grid here at the Red Bull Ring in the Styrian Hills, and we go racing in Austria. Brilliant launch from Michael Menning. Great launch from Kurt Van Houten-Reid off the front row. Ricardo Rivera looking racy in third place. Takes a bit of a wide line to try and get around the outside of Van Houten-Reid in the number 5. And number 43, that is of Ricardo Rivera, trying to make the move stick. Fourth place man, that's Shane Ross, who's trying to get past Ricardo Rivera as they head up the hill through turn number 3 in towards through turn number 2, I should say, in towards turn number 3 of Remus. There's no Shane Ross barreling down the inside, but they are free abreast a little bit further back, and there's a bit of contact made, and there's cars going bouncing across the circuit. Somehow, miraculously, they all survive.
Yeah, these front-wheel drive cars, you just put the throttle down. If there's any sign, the back end is going to step out on you. But look at this then. This is Jordan Johnson trying to find his way around the outside now in this battle for 6th place, I believe. Trying to swoop his way around the outside, no way through. Bit more contact to be had further down the field. It's getting very argy-bargy to get into those positions here. But you've got to make sure you rein yourself in at some point, because although you're battling hard for these positions, you've got to remember that these positions could so easily be lost if there's contact that sends you off into the gravel.
Yeah, that could have gone very, very wrong for some of those drivers, and it might have even been an end of the day very early on. But thankfully we have 20 Elantras almost through the first lap rather unscathed, and not much damage has been picked up. These TCR cars are very, very sturdy, and they are made of titanium at times, it feels. But it will be Michael Menning who leads the opening lap. Oh, and I say that, we've not quite got them all through the first lap. That's the number 48, that's Nicholas Iverson, who's had some problems, and Iverson came into this one as a real on-the-cuff qualifier for the World Final. That's not gone well. He has a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do, but luckily it's the longest race here. in terms of time, so he can try and get himself back up the order. What's important though is the slipstream, the tow that you get from the car ahead to get yourself in there. What he'll be hoping now for Iversen is they'll be battling up the road, like with Sebastian Baez and Paul Verboten there, as Sebastian Baez later on the brakes in towards turn 3 and gets the power down, moves himself now up into 12th place. A bit of door-to-door there on entry, and yeah, you're making contact on entry in towards the corner, meters before the braking zone. You're playing it fine there, but it looks like Sebastian Baez got the move done, moves up to 12th place.
Yes, there is live stewarding on this one as well, of course, folks. So the stewards will be having a look at any naughty antics out on circuit, but nothing too bad so far. Nothing that we don't see in touring car racing across the world. Here's Tyler Limsnuken, who you are having a look at in the number 54, and the UCLA attendee. And he's a man putting his wisdom to the test here out on circuit. We've seen some crafty moves from him across the campaign so far. He's looking to attempt another one here on Braden Werner. Qualified for this in 6th place, of course, as we said. Just one position ahead of Braden Werner in 7th. Guess where they are now? 6th and 7th out on circuit. So 2 positions they are familiar with. Limsnuken would like to swap them round a tad.
Oh, the script writers are out for this one, aren't they? They're giving us a great opportunity. Patterns happen. It's a great symphony going on here as we make our way in towards turn 1 here. Braden Werner and Tyler Limsnuken battling away for 6th place. Good battle developing as well for 2nd place, much as we saw in Monza. Van Autenried ahead of Ricardo Rivera, Shane Ross and Quapono Patrick also in the mix of the battle there. There is Kurt Van Autenried making his way then onwards towards the next corner. I say Michael Menning hasn't got too far up the road. He's not too far away, about I would say 8 to 10 car lengths away, so not too far away in the grand scheme of things. And I suppose for Kurt Van Autenried, he's sort of hoping for the other drivers behind that they don't battle him too hard. He doesn't lose too much time because he's got a great opportunity. Now, a couple of 3rd places in the in the regional qualifiers, I should say. Semi-final right now. I know there's still 25 minutes left on the clock, but he's on course here for his best result here in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup.
He is indeed. The only thing now is, and one thing we spoke a lot about maybe in the regional qualifiers, was that you only needed to finish in the top 20 to advance to this stage. So if you got yourself a top 10 finish in one of the point scoring races, you were kind of already in. Here, it's top 5. Even if you win this race, there's no guarantee you get in. So you've got to maximise your opportunities here. Kurt Van Autenried will be looking to do that. Feels he is 2nd best on pace here at the Red Bull Ring, and he will be putting it all to Ricardo Rivera and to Shane Ross in order for them to get past it. But doing a stellar job so far, as is race leader Michael Menning, who is 1.7 up the road and doing what he does best for the Samatha Racing esports team.
Yeah, closing on board with Quapono Patrick on the back of Shane Ross then, as we make our way up towards turn 3 and towards Remus here, and braking hard for this one, running in power down, and it's a case here once again of momentum is key here. Quapono Patrick got a good exit out of the 3rd turn as we head away down towards turn 4 of Schlossgall. There you can see Quapono Patrick on the bottom camera, and then the opponent cam is Shane Ross just ahead. We head away in towards turn 4. Back on the power we go, and this is a case here. Drivers will have settled down. It's difficult to say settled down for what is essentially a 30-minute sprint race. But drivers will settle down into their rhythm at this point, and they'll look to try and apply some pressure to drivers in front, see if they can get an unforced or forced error either way out of the driver in front. And this is where you've got a lot at stake here. Yeah, all your culmination has come to this, a chance to go to South Korea. It starts here with this first semi-final race, and Quapono Patrick applying that pressure. He's got to be careful as well from Braden Werner behind, who's not too far behind, and he'll bring the likes of Tyler Limsnuken, Jordan Johnson and Zach Doran with him.
I tell you what, if you were to scrap timing towers, if you were to scrap timing screens and just go from a visual perspective, Quapono Patrick looks a lot more comfortable in this scenario than Shane Ross does. There's been a couple of times Shane Ross has been a little bit uncertain through the corners. You can see the car with a little bit of unnatural sliding, but Quapono Patrick looks very cool. Now, obviously, that's very easy to say when we're looking at the front of his car and the whole of Shane Ross's. The rear could be stepping out left, right and centre. and we wouldn't even notice. But Quapono Patrick clearly feeling more comfortable in this scenario as Jordan Johnson slicks down the inside. Quapono Patrick would be more familiar in this scenario, of course. Finished first in the GT4 Open Spring Nürburgring 24 Hours, and his claim to fame is that he beat Lando Norris in a sim race once as well. So there's no pressure like racing a Formula 1 driver. Here is Jordan Johnson, and that's Tyler Limsnooken, and Limsnooken has gone down the inside of Jordan Johnson, looking to avenge his position and looking to stay ahead. Johnson's got the run and will stick on the inside in towards this corner now. This is sketchy territory for Jordan Johnson, slides it on the inside. Limsnooken needs to be careful that the gap doesn't close. It closes a little bit, but he's able to stay on the rumble strip and not into the seaside beach, and Jordan Johnson falls to 7th, doesn't lose any more time, still with a fighting chance.
Yeah, Tyler Limsnooken really applying the pressure. That's allowing Zach Doran to close up as well as they head their way through in towards the final 2 corners of Rindt Corner and then the Red Bull Mobile last corner. Yeah, Jordan Johnson really feeling that pressure, able to stay ahead of Tyler Limsnooken for the time being as we cross the line once again. With just under 22 minutes left of the race to run, Jordan Johnson has it all to do to try and keep Tyler Limsnooken behind him. Up towards the first corner we go. Just above them, or just ahead of them I should say, battle for 4th place Shane Ross, battle for 2nd place on the cards as well. So there's plenty of battling. We are focusing though on Jordan Johnson. You've got Tyler Limsnooken's on board in the bottom right hand of your screen. You can see he's closing and closing with that slipstream. Will he look for a move to the inside on this occasion? No, he won't, not this time. I think he's realised that, Jordan Johnson got to move down the inside in towards that 3rd turn. Tyler Limsnooken decides that's not the place for him.
No, doesn't want to risk it too much. I mean, there's still 21 minutes left in this heat and then 20 minutes left in the Silverstone race that's going to come up later this evening, so there's plenty of time. There's no need to do something rash, something irrational, something silly. Tyler Limsnooken knows there is plenty of time to make a move stick on Jordan Johnson and even get up the road to Braden Werner. Gap at the front has extended to 3 seconds between Michael Menning and Kurt van Oldenried, but again, that's not a given. A mistake could happen very easily. I do say that with a bit of irony though, because Michael Menning has been faultless from day 1 of the pre-qualification stage.
Yeah, managed to build that big gap as well. And whilst we've seen some great racing in the US, we've seen his dominating performances from Michael Menning. The biggest gaps we've seen so far as Jordan Johnson runs slightly wide on the exit. That's going to open the door here for Tyler Limsnooken, who tries to bring himself a front bumper alongside. Now it's the front set of wheels alongside as we head away up towards Niki Lauda curve. Limsnooken on the inside, Johnson on the outside. Then they give each other the room, plenty of room given, and Jordan Johnson able to carry that momentum through. Watch out though for Zach Doran in that number 10 then, who uses the slipstream given off by Jordan Johnson to find his way through. So Tyler Limsnooken, in his attempts to go down the inside, cost himself too much momentum, and Zach Doran says thank you very much, I'll take 9th place off you right now. Well, 8th place, it is
Zach
8th.
Doran. Zach Doran just reminding us what region you're watching, folks. This is, of course, the USA Regional Semi-Finals here at the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. Look at that on the grass in the background. That's risky. Very, very risky indeed. You're now looking at Shane Ross, who is in 5th place, looking to try and get past Quapono Patrick in front. Both in the yellow-coloured Elantra. They have Braden Werner now just right behind, only 1/10 of a second behind Shane Ross. That is a focused man, Kieran. That is he even blinking? I don't even think he's blinking.
Well, he won't be blinking because Quapono Patrick has found his way through. Now Shane Ross is like to try and follow his way through. Yeah, just of a blink there. But of course, when you're focused on driving here, even in motorsports, drivers don't normally blink that much. You're so focused on blinking here, quarter of a second, maybe a little bit less. You lose a couple of meters there in certain braking zones as well, so you have to leave it to the straights to get all your blinking in before you head towards the next corner. Shane Ross though is certainly got his eye on the prize.
Piece of dialogue.
Well, what can you say? What can you say? Well, I'll tell you what, Shane Ross has not taken his eye off the prize here, that's for sure. Blinking you'll miss it, because here goes Shane Ross then trying to see if he can look up the inside. Braden Werner as well, who's joined onto this battle in the number 29. thinking about a move up the inside, no way through on this occasion. Jordan Johnson and Zach Doran have dropped behind, or at least they're trying to close in at this stage. Jordan Johnson, who's managing to try and see if he can break away from the likes of Zach Doran. On board then with Braden Werner, as Shane Ross right on the back of Quapono Patrick. Down towards the fourth corner we go.
Yes, there's still no swapping of the places, but a lot of tension in the air heading in towards the final 20 minutes. 17 and 30 on the clock. If you're just joining us, folks, a big welcome to the HyundaiNVirtualCup. If you'd like to find out more information while your time, or during your time here, I should say, you can check out the official championship website. That's a bit wide for the corner for Shane Ross, but he's recovered it well. Braden Werner wasn't too early on the power, so Ross will survive for this moment. And it really is a bit of a slipstream fest up towards turn number 3. But Quapono Patrick and Shane Ross just stretching their legs a little bit here. Shane Ross, he really is giving this absolutely everything. As look, you can sense the frustration. You can see the frustration from Braden Werner.
And that's the great thing with the webcams on these drivers. You sort of get a live reaction from them as to how everything's going, how they're feeling. Saw a great one from Moritz yesterday, who, although won the race, gave a wry smile, which I thought was, him winning the race. But no, he'd actually seen that his rival had actually pipped him to fastest lap with a qualifying attempt on the final lap to pip him of that one. So, although a picture paints 1,000 words sometimes, there's sometimes a couple of reasons as to why things shape up the way they do. Ricardo Rivera, though, trying to see if he can close in on Kurt van Ortenried, who is now about 5 seconds behind Michael Menning. So, as we saw in the regional qualifiers, Menning gets away, gets his pace, and is able to just pull out these 3 or 4 tenths of a second per lap.
Yeah, it's quite obscene at this point, just how easy it seems to be for him, and he is just excelling and performing at the highest possible level here. And if he can keep this up through Silverstone, I mean, I won't jump to any conclusions, but he's a contender in that world final for sure, if he makes it there. So here's another man who's looking to make it there, Ricardo Rivera, doing a stellar job so far in third. Ricardo Rivera representing the Puerto Rico e-racing team. Finished fourth overall in the regional qualifiers, and he has a lot of experience in high performance and high pressure scenarios. Finished P2 in the Ferrari Esports Challenge in the Americas region. So a man who has been there, has done that. Maybe didn't buy the t-shirt, I mean, I don't have his receipts, but he certainly performed at an excelling standard, as is this man, Michael Menning. We've finally seen him after the first lap for once. He's not focusing here, but it almost looks like he's cruising in a way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you get to the front here and you've got yourself the healthy gap, it can be easy to sort of relax and let the lap times tumble. But we've seen Michael Menning time and time again, the lap times, they simply do not drop. He is on it, getting the pace out of the car every single lap, every single moment he's behind the wheel of the Elantra. He's getting the most out of it. And he continues to do that time and time again. Braden Werner and Shane Ross starting to battle away. As Quapono Patrick trying to get his way up the road and away from this battle. He might be looking in his rear view mirror and thinking, at this point, yeah, that's great. You two battle. I'll slip away and build a gap on you both whilst you two squabble for position. We're over the halfway in time allotted mark of the race, and currently you've got Nicholas Iverson, who is on the brink of being eliminated from the semi-final. Remember, our top 15 progress to the next stage, to race number 2. We don't go through with all drivers who enter this race, so Iverson has got to make sure he gets up the order as far as he can after that lap 1 kerfuffle.
It would be a big disappointment for the Sidewinder number 48 if he couldn't get into the at least Silverstone. And that would certainly be a huge disappointment. So he's going to be pushing, is closing that gap to Brad Lane. It's now 1.1 seconds. So doing everything possible. That's going to be a mighty scrap to watch, because both fighting for a future here in the HyundaiNVirtualCup. Braden Werner is going to be fighting for 5th place as well, because he's into the slipstream of Shane Ross, and he's going to try it down the inside here potentially. Breaks a lot later than Ross. Chucks one down the inside. brilliant evasive driving almost from Shane Ross just to make sure that he's not clipped on the inside. He'll now have a go back down towards the Schloss Gold corner of turn number 4. Not quite in the slipstream, but has good straight line speed nonetheless. Pulls all the way to the left hand side to maximise the entry of the corner. Will fall behind, however. Braden Werner with a great move. Ross with one last chance, one last fight in towards the left-hander, and it won't be there. Braden Werner, job completed. Great move indeed.
Yeah, really nice battle between the two of them, giving each other the respect out there that we so often see in the US region racing. And Shane Ross, although he's down to 6th, still very much on the back of Braden Werner. Do not count out Shane Ross just yet. Braden Werner very happy to get himself ahead. Shane Ross, you don't normally see overtakes happen in the final 2 corners at the Jochen Rindt corner, named after Formula One's only posthumous champion in Jochen Rindt. Shane Ross back on the power, out of the Red Bull mobile, and making his way on towards the start-finish straight. Just 12 minutes left in our first race of tonight, and Shane Ross here is looking to see if he can get back into a top 5 position and really give himself the best springboard possible heading towards Silverstone. That's what this race is all about. We've said before, when it came to the regional qualifiers, you just need to get into the top part here, get into that top 10 or top 15, you give yourself half a chance. But now you've got to finish as high up the order as possible. Both races are so important. They're weighted exactly the same, so you've got to make sure you finish as high up the order as you possibly can in both.
Now, as we sit 600 metres above sea level here at the Red Bull Ring, here is 2 guys trying to keep their head above water and keep themselves in contention. It's Nicholas Iverson and Brad Lane. Iverson has dispatched Lane, and he has dispatched Lane. He is 1.2 seconds ahead already. And if you're Brad Lane, things are not looking too promising, because Thomas Toomey has got a second wind and he is looking to get in front of Brad Lane as well. Toomey 13th coming into this, so you would expect them to advance if statistics were to go by. But the brilliant thing about motorsport is statistics mean absolutely nothing, and it is the skill of the driver and it is the engineering that powers you forward. And in what is a brilliant piece of engineering, the Hyundai Elantra N TC, Thomas Toomey is looking to utilise all of that skill he possesses to get past Lane. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to do so. And remember, it's going to be even more difficult to try and catch Nicholas Iverson, who is not only driving with skill, Kieran, he's probably driving with a little bit of anger as well.
Yeah, and sometimes for drivers that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. Driving with anger underneath you, lighting up the fire, then doesn't look like it's driving him, the anger, but it's very focused, and probably the focus now is on keeping Thomas Toomey behind. Thomas Toomey, even though this is a battle for 16th place, gets a great run out of the final corner, and these two are now going to be side by side. Thomas Toomey looking for a move up the inside here, with Brad Lane having to sweep his way round the outside at turn 1, but Thomas Toomey gets the position there, very nicely done, up the inside, and Thomas Toomey gets himself up a position. His next target now, Nicholas Iverson, but he's got to find at least 2 seconds to help himself get there.
Needs to catch and pass Iverson, and it's not looking likely at the moment, but Thomas Toomey will be hoping for everything possible. Currently in the elimination zone is Thomas Toomey, Brad Lane, Jonathan Moyer, Jesse Hofford, and then one more name that has slipped off our entry list, but I think it is Tyler Rosen that has slipped off. So those 5 currently are going out. They have 9 minutes to rectify that, try and advance to Silverstone and advance a little bit further in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. It is a horrible way to go out to finish 16th. Thomas Toomey obviously doesn't want that, so we will give him 9 minutes to show what he has got. A little bit further up the order, Michael Menning still extending his gap to now over 6 seconds. Kurt Van Otenried in 2nd, Ricardo Rivera 3rd, Capono Patrick 4th, and Braden Werner in 5th position.
Yeah, here is Kurt Van Otenried, head of Ricardo Rivera at this stage for 2nd place in this race. Looking up and down the field for the battles then, probably looking at Braden Werner, who's currently 5th place. Shane Ross trying to keep tabs with him. Then we have a battle for 12th place. Sebastian Baez, you've got Josh Ross, and you've got Drew Swank here. as they make their way onwards towards the next couple of corners. There's Drew Swank there, trying to find a way past Josh Ross as we make our way onwards and upwards towards turn 3. Battle right here for 13th place on track, with Sebastian Baez not too far ahead of them either. And Drew Swank here with a 14th place. Oh, and that might be a chance here. Josh Ross doesn't get the best exit out of the third turn here, and Drew Swank right now onto the back bumper, looks to try and see if he can go around the outside at the 4th turn at Schlossgold. He'll give himself that perfect opportunity to do so. Josh Ross brakes slightly later, but look at the switchback here from Drew Swank to get himself now. He'll be on the outside line though as we head away through Ralk and Verth corner here through turn 6 and 7. If he can keep the momentum up, can he get the move stuck then, as Josh Ross up the inside, swooping though round the outside, goes Drew Swank and completes the move for 13th place. That was brilliantly worked. That all came from turn 3 there, and Drew Swank made that move look so easy, but it was all calculated, and Swank is up to 13th place.
Excellent move from the man from Colorado. Brilliant overtake from Drew Swank. He runs a little bit wide, heading through the rinth curve, but really great stuff. Sent Josh Ross to the shops first and foremost, and then held it round the outside beautifully. Unfortunately, that work might matter not, because Josh Ross is trying it back up the inside, heading in towards turn number 1, and Swank is going to have to go the long way about it again, or is he going to switch back him again? Trying the switchback manoeuvre, the old switcheroo, and he will now draft side by side with Josh, heading up the hill once again. It's turn 3, where the move was initially set in stone, where Drew Swank tried to make it stick the first time round. He will fall behind, so Josh Ross is able to get ahead. Swank, though, he's got a much better exit once again, and Drew Swank is just nailing these corners compared to the number 25 in front. If you're wondering which one Drew Swank is, well, it's the one with Swank written all over the side of the car, and I tell you what, that name deserves to be shouted around the world, because it is an absolute clinic in racecraft from Drew Swank, who, has he now got the move done? Could you be so sure even? Because Josh Ross is trying it again round the outside. The number 88, there's a little bit of a nudge between the two, but Drew Swank, I think now, has just about got it done.
Yeah, don't speak too soon, because Drew Swank had this move done at turn 7 last time around, but got a huge amount of understeer, carrying too much speed through turn 9. You actually saw the car hop around, and in all of their squabbling, that's brought Nicholas Iverson into the battle as well. So he's got to keep an eye on this one. We join the battle for 6th place now. Shane Ross has fallen into the clutches of Jordan Johnson here, and Johnson out of turn 1, looking to see if he can find a way through as we head away onwards through turn 2 and up towards the third turn of Remus. Then is there a way through this time around? I don't think he's close enough yet, though I'm ready to eat my words if it's not. In towards the third turn, uphill braking as well. You can try and brake slightly later and help gravity, or at least gravity help you slow the car down. And as we head away down the hill then towards the 4th turn, looks like Shane Ross has just about got a good exit out of turn 4. I don't think there'll be a way through for Jordan Johnson as we head away downhill. Less than 5 minutes left on the clock. God, time flies when you're having fun, and we've been treated to some brilliant action out there.
Yeah, it's been some great racing so far, and it's going to look to continue for the remainder of race number 1 here at the regional semi-finals for the USA region. Jordan Johnson, who we are on board with now, we are a passenger to the number 12 car, and he is attacking Shane Ross in front. Shane Ross really been a great first race for him so far. We'll be looking to keep this up as we head to Silverstone, and we'll try to get into that top 5 and head to the world final. A little bit slow at the apex of the corner, that allowed Jordan Johnson to gain a couple of tenths of a second, but Shane Ross, has he got the exit back? No, he hasn't, so Jordan Johnson might be able to contend with Ross. Heading up the hill and braking for turn number 3. On the bubble is Nicholas Iverson, but he's on the right side of it. Thomas Toomey still there at 16th place, and that one looking pretty much decided. Once again, unsteady across the curb for Shane Ross, and Jordan Johnson is licking his lips and gonna try go for this one. Heading up the hill, pivots to the left hand side. It's gonna be the outside line through Remus for Jordan Johnson. If it's anything, there's a little bit of a nudge between the two, couple of scrapes on the alloys, and Jordan Johnson flings it round the outside here. Much better rotation, much better run for the corner. Jordan Johnson is ahead.
Great stuff again, heading in towards the third turn at Remus, and Jordan Johnson gets himself ahead then as we head away down the hill towards the next couple of corners. To say Sebastian Baez has fallen down to 15th place there. Was running, I think, in 12th, but has fallen down the order now to 15th place. There is a number 48 of Nicholas Iverson, who's trying to get up the inside there of Drew Swank. Couldn't quite find that way through, but as we head away down, there's a 3-car battle here for 12th place, with Josh Ross, Drew Swank and Nicholas Iverson heading their way now down in towards Schlossgold here. Drew Swank maybe thinking he can see a move up the inside of Josh Ross there. Nicholas Iverson was very much ready to follow him all the way through. It's not been a very, a comfortable race for Nicholas Iverson. He got caught up in lap 1 shenanigans. Now he's having to fight his way back through. He's got himself up to 14th place. So at the moment, he's still heading to Silverstone, but not in a strong position as I thought he might have liked, or at least giving himself a chance. But he's got to leave it out all on the track now. That's the only place he can go now. If he can get 12th place out of this after the race he's had, I think he can consider that a decent result.
And I tell you what, Thomas Toomey has been given one extra life. He's up to 15th and he's 2 seconds ahead of Sebastian Baez. With 2 minutes to go, Thomas Toomey has been given one last opportunity to advance here, and he's taken it. And Brad Lane has overtaken Sebastian Baez as well, and it's really not looking good for Sebastian Baez. Whatever's happened, we missed it unfortunately, but whatever happened with 3 minutes to go is sending Baez down the order and out of the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. Nicholas Iverson goes past Drew Swank, heading in towards turn number 3. Swank, we've seen his racecraft once this evening. We've seen it twice this evening, and third time really would be the charm. As tucked in right behind Iverson. He might not be able to get it done this time round, but we will see what he can do. Tucked right into the slipstream. No, he would be very brave to go for it into there, so just stays behind for the time being.
Yeah, good battle here. Iverson is up the order then, but we have Michael Menning now onto the final lap of this race. 62 seconds on the clock. We're wrapping at around 1.5 minutes then. So Michael Menning is on the final lap of this race, and a healthy advantage. He's actually lapping some of the field there. That's the number 27, so that's Jonathan Moyes. That's 18th place. So the fact that Michael Menning is starting to lap some of the field 30 minutes into this race just shows you how quick he has been, how much of a dominant force he's been in the US region, and he's not too far away now from wrapping up yet another victory in the US region HyundaiN Virtual Cup.
Like, that's madness. That is madness that he is lapping someone here, and unfortunately it is Jonathan Moyer, but it could be anyone really. As oh, look at this is very feisty heading up the hill. That's number 48 of Nicholas Iverson, who you can see chasing down Josh Ross in front, and Nicholas Iverson is going to go for 12th place here in the number 25. It's the recovery of a lifetime potentially for Iverson, who gives himself one last shot, but he's not got the move done just yet. There's a nudge between the two, hangs it round the outside, very late braking for Josh Ross, goes off the circuit, hits the rumble strip to the outside, through goes Nicholas Iverson. The number 48 is ahead, and that's an excellent overtake indeed. There's going to be no fighting back from Josh Ross because he's under pressure from Drew Swank right behind. They head over the curb once again to widen out the corner. Oh, it's a little bit wide for Iverson. You can see Swank trying it round the outside in the backpack. Has he got it done? Well, he's still alongside and definitely in contention as Michael Menning crosses the start-finish line. He's so quick we can't even catch him. He wins the race 1 here at the Red Bull Ring. Fabulous performance from Menning. Van Otenried second, Rivera third. We continue on with this fight for 12th.
We do indeed, and it's Drew Swank who's got himself ahead now of Josh Ross. And look at that, Nicholas Iverson has just catapulted away as we make our way through in towards the final couple of corners. Difficult to get an overtake here, but if Drew Swank runs a little bit wide, there's an open opportunity. But it looks like he's got it all settled down then in towards the final corner. The Red Bull Mobile onwards and upwards towards that checkered flag. Brilliant race between the three of them then. It's going to be Iverson 12th, Drew Swank in 13th, Josh Ross in 14th place, and Thomas Toomey looks like he's going to grab that 15th place spot then and get himself half a chance, or at least the chance, to race at Silverstone. All results are provisional, of course, But what another commanding performance from Michael Menning. I can only assume at this stage he might have fastest lap. So if it is, it's another 30 points. Of course, all the points get reset at this stage. So it's 30 points for Michael Menning. And already he's looking at a very good prospect for what the semi-finals. Still one race to go, but Michael Menning in control.
Superb stuff from Michael Menning. 7.9 the deficit at the end, which is one of the smaller ones for the unbelievable standard that he has set. Kurt Van Autenried in second, Ricardo Rivera in third, Quapono Patrick, and then in fourth with Bryden Werner in fifth, Jordan Johnson in sixth, Shane Ross finished in seventh, Zach Doran in eighth, out of Tyler Limsnuken in ninth, Aaron Berkey comes home in 10th. Paul Verbunen in 11th, with Nicholas Iverson with that recovery drive to finish in 12th. Drew Swank in 13th. Then it's Josh Ross 14th, Thomas Toomey in 15th. Brad Lane gets 16th spot, Jesse Hoffart in 17th, and Jonathan Moyer in 18th. Your two non-finishers were Sebastian Baez and Tyler Rosen. So unfortunately, playing no further part in the Hyundai Virtual Cup is Brad Lane, Jesse Hoffart, Jonathan Moyer, Sebastian Baez and Tyler Rosen. Very disappointing for those drivers, very exciting for those who got a high position, especially Michael Menning, especially Kurt Van Autenried, Ricardo Rivera, but even those on the fringes have a lot to fight for. This one not decided by any stretch of the imagination, Kieran.
Not by a long shot. You know, you've had a great first race, but the fact of the matter is you've still got another race. If you've got yourself into that top 15, you've given yourself a chance. And it's high scoring we saw in Europe that gets you into the top 5. So you really need to have strong results behind you. Just because you've made it this far means there's no guarantee that you're going to get that spot. Michael Menning could not have a great race next time out. He might finish on 30 points. 30 points at this stage, as we saw in Europe, might not be enough. So you've still got to bring your A game to the second race. It's no way decided yet.
Absolutely is not over, and that's why you should stick with us, folks. We have our second race. It's a shorter race, 20 minutes, coming up in Silverstone in a few moments time, but we've got to get the official results sorted. The drivers get a few laps around Silverstone, a couple of laps practice, so we will briefly take a break. Before we do so, a big thanks of course to our sponsors, who you can see below myself and Kieran, who are proud partners here at the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. But we will have a brief hiatus. We'll be back to you very, very soon indeed for race 2 around Silverstone here in the USA Regional Semi-Finals of the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. Go fill up your popcorn and come straight back to us.
+1.
So is he doing siren?
There's more to driving than getting from A to B. It's not just hitting the tarmac, but owning it. It's choosing a road with the most curves, not the shortest. Not just logging in, but drawing a crowd. Not just jumping, but reaching the top. So never just push the pedal. Listen. Hear the roar. Never just embrace new tech. Ignite it. Never just take a corner. Find its limit. Remember, never, ever just go from A to B. Never just drive. Hyundai N.
has been in our DNA since the beginning. Our passion for driving is everywhere, anytime. Even before 30 years, our enthusiasts competed at Australian Rally and took the crown with the first generation Elantra in 1991. This was one of the moments our high-performance dream was ignited. Motorsport is where we prove ourselves against the toughest competition. Motivated by pure passion, we continue to hone our game. Even after the ovations and celebrations, we didn't stop there. Our passion had only just awoken. Victory makes us stronger. Winning is part of our DNA. And the Elantra N is the pinnacle of our racing spirit. We are now joined by a solid following of enthusiasts. We are forged from the same blood. A passion for N. We are everywhere, and we can hear each other out of the crowd. We created the ultimate N sports sedan, just so that we could enjoy it and share the joy with you. The Elantra N is powered by the passion of all of us. Together, we grow stronger. Welcome to N.
they go. What a win for Hyundai.
True calm only comes at speed. The initial hour sets the pace. Endurance is as crucial as speed. Intuition is our guiding light. The green hell makes no promises. The indefinite wait is the greatest trial.
Oh, hier steht's zu Diensten. Hier ist
Perseverance takes us to the finish. 2024 Nürburgring 24 Hours race. 4 teams, 15 drivers, 4 qualifying rounds, and 1 final race. Standing firm in the face of challenges, HyundaiN reigned victorious once again. Unchanging passion changes everything.
When this love takes a hold of you, it makes you fearless and do the unthinkable. Just by the thought of it, your heart beats faster and you feel alive. Like a force of nature, this love is unstoppable and has the power to break all the rules and set the new ones. It pushes you to the limits. A legacy is not built on promises, but on the challenges you overcome. This spirit has the power to lift you to the stars. If you feel this way, you are not alone. For the love of driving. Introducing Ioniq 5N. N-brand is the technology powerhouse of Hyundai. We push the latest technology to take pure, unfiltered driving fun to a new level. Ioniq 5N ensures the optimal battery temperature for maximized track performance. This is the most advanced Hyundai N ever. Ioniq 5N features powerful dual motors and the 4th generation battery. The reinforced chassis endures extreme track conditions and provides instant steering response. We revolutionized the regenerative braking to create 0.6 G of decelerative force. This industry-leading system creates a synergy with enhanced brakes. As functional feedback and find new ways to carve through the corners with N pedal. You can turn off the sound and enjoy maximum comfort with ECS. But when you're ready for takeoff, your different high-performance sounds blasting out from both inside and outside. Your heart will be in sync with the roars and kicks from Ioniq 5N. Enthusiasts out there, we hear you. This is not the end of driving, but a new chapter. Our journey continues with Ioniq 5N. Because at HyundaiN, driving still matters.
starting to flow like a riptide, and you lie. The scene playing over in black and white, and it's all been a blur. But something about you's taking hold through the flaws in the surface, making our way through vertigo. this life, it's ephemeral, but this feeling now is so ethereal. Oh, this life, it's ephemeral.
It is the final opportunity to cement yourself a place in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup World Final. It is race number 2 here for the USA Regional Semi-Finals, live from Silverstone, one of the finest racing facilities across the world and the birthplace, of course, of Formula 1. My name is Evan Dalton. Still a pleasure to be here alongside Kieran McGinley to bring you race 2 action. Race 1, very decent, Kieran. I think this one could be good.
I think so, yeah. Michael Menning comfortable at the top, but drivers and positions behind him, it's anybody's guess. It's going to be right into the frying pan as we head towards Silverstone. Who will come out with a ticket on their name to South Korea?
Yes, folks, we will be running you through what has to happen in a moment, but of course this is a big pressure situation for the drivers, Kieran. Some will make, some will break.
Yeah, and that's what this competition will decide. In the case of Michael Menning, you know, he's done enough so far, but still he needs to grab those all-important points. Even he's not guaranteed a spot at this stage. All lies on race 2. As you said, it's a pressure scenario here. Who will rise up to the pressure? Who will crack underneath it? There's really only one way to find out.
We will be heading into qualifying shortly, folks, but before that, we've got to run you through a little bit of housekeeping. So we are, of course, here on the Assetto Corsa platform, driving the fabulous Hyundai Elantra N TC, which Kieran will be running you through in a few moments. Total prize pool of $104,000. Pre-qualification, of course, was our first phase of the program. We moved on to regional qualifications, where we had 2 race days for each of the 4 regions. Now we have a regional semi-final, 1 for each of the 4 regions. Tonight, of course, being for USA. Top 5 from tonight will race the top 5 from the other regions at the World Final at the Super Coliseum in South Korea. Of course, we started our regional semi-final process yesterday on December 7th. Tonight, December 8th here for USA. Korea then on December 14th, with China taking place on December 15th. Then, of course, our format for tonight. We started with qualifying, 15 minutes and a 30-minute race, with the bottom 5 being eliminated. That has taken place. We now move on to race 2. 10-minute qualifying, followed by a 20-minute race. Shorter than race number 1, but equally weighted points. The top 5, after points are added together from the 2 races, will move on to that World Final, which of course will take place in the fabulous Seoul, South Korea. You can see just some of the beautiful scenes on your screens now. It is an absolute marvellous place, full of hustle, bustle, technology, history, atmosphere, and so much more. It really is a fabulous place for a fabulous occasion, such as the HyundaiN Virtual Cup World Final. And of course our point system, 25 for the fourth, and followed by 11 for fifth, and it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, down to 10th, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 for 15th. Of course, if you finish 16th to 20th, you would get no points, but we only have 15 runners for this second race. 2 points if you pick up the fastest lap, 3 points if you pick up pole position, which of course was picked up by Michael Menning earlier this evening. And our prize pool, we have $104,000 in total for these drivers, $62,000 for the Drivers' Championship, $11,000 for the Regional Championship. There is $7,705 per region for the regional semi-finals. And then, of course, as we mentioned previously, the top 20 finalists also win an all-inclusive trip to that world final. But how is the prize split up for this evening? Well, if you are numero uno, and you win tonight, overall you pick up $1,500, $1,000 for second, then it is $700, $600, $500, $400, $375, $350, $325, $300, all the way down to $70 if you finished last. So even if you didn't even get a lap in tonight, you would still pick up a nice $70 prize, which is definitely better than a slap on the wrist. And of course, our race 2 semi-finalists, this is the order at play. So far, heading to the world final would be Michael Menning, Kurt Van Altenried, Ricardo Rivera, Quapono Patrick, and Braden Werner. But as you can see, it's so close and everybody still has the opportunity. Shane Ross in 6th, Tyler Limsnuken in 7th, Jordan Johnson in 8th, head of Aaron Berkey in 9th, Zach Doran in 10th, Paul Verbunen in 11th, head of Nicholas Iverson in 12th, Drew Swank is in 13th, Josh Ross in 14th, and Thomas Toomey sneaking his way in at the end in Austria in 15th position. Earlier, of course, we were in the Red Bull Ring. It's a slight different change of scenery. Kieran, talk us through it.
Yes, Silverstone, and as we overlook the wing on the international circuit, we officially started racing here in 1948, taking over from the disused RAF field, the RAF Silverstone. There was unofficial races in 1947, but we officially started racing here in 1948, and of course, significance is this is where Formula One started. All the way back in 1950, the first of 6 races on that calendar was Silverstone, and 18 turns in the latest iteration. The latest iteration that was brought in 2011 was the 5.8 kilometre circuit, which encounters and incorporates that international wing pit lane and all of its iconic layouts there. It's gone through so many iconic layouts. The very first edition, in the official sense, had 8 corners, now all the way up to 18, and on a track that prioritises that momentum. Just like at Austria, there's plenty of medium and high speed corners to take you through. Some of the slow sections include the final corners and of course the loop per first way into the lap. So that means there are overtaking opportunities. The old turn 1 at Copse, now the new turn 8, still provides that terrifying high speed action that drivers so crave. And taking us through there, we need a car to do just the job. And luckily we have the Elantra N TC on our side with 350 brake horsepower, a top speed of 248 kilometers per hour, which we tested down the hangar straight with 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.5 seconds. This 6-speed sequential gearbox front-wheel drive machine made its debut in 2021, winning its class at the Nürburgring 24 hours at the first attempt. Since then, it's 3-time winner at the Nürburgring, a WTCR driver and team champion in 2022, and also picking up the Drivers' Championship in the TCR World Tour in 2023. This balance between performance and precision is very good for the likes of Silverstone here. The high and medium speed corners, as well as being the front wheel drive machine that it is. It's been very predictable for our drivers. If Europe yesterday showed us anything, it's that this solid base that drivers get to race on here in the Elantra NTC. Its predictable nature just furthers the driver's confidence in pushing the boundaries and giving us some great racing action. And that is your track and car for our race 2 in the semi-final.
Fabulous as always, Kieran. We head to the final moments of qualifying. There is 55 seconds left to be exact, and it is Michael Menning on top once again. Kurt Van Altenried in 2nd, head of Ricardo Rivera in 3rd, Quapono Patrick then in 4th, Braden Werner in 5th, head of Jordan Johnson, Zach Doran, Shane Ross, Nicholas Iverson, Tyler Limsnuken, Aaron Berkey, Drew Swank, Josh Ross. Then it is Thomas Toomey, head of Paul Verbunen in 15th. Not exactly close to the top of the order, Michael Menning on the pole position as it stands by well over 0.4 of a second. Kurt Van Altenried then 0.3 of a second, ahead of Ricardo Rivera in 3rd.
Yeah, and Michael Menning's just doing what he can, so it was confirmed then with his 30 points that he did get the fastest lap in Austria. Was there any surprise in that one? He's looking for an absolute clean sweep into regional qualifiers and into the semi-final as well. He's looking to pick up every single point possible. Only one race left to do it, and would you really bet against him? There's Braden Werner in 5th place at the moment in time. He finished 5th place in the race last time out, so if he continues to do that, he's got Rapono Patrick ahead of him. All the drivers that finished in front of him are ahead of him, so if qualifying serves as anything, it means that Braden Werner is just about making it into the top 5. But the great thing about motorsport and of course sim racing is that normally it's never confirmed on paper, it's normally confirmed out on track.
Yes, at the moment the top 5 in qualifying were top 5 from race number 1, but as Kieran said, that can change. Michael Menning takes the checker, 2:10 flat, his qualifying time. I can't imagine that will be beaten. Nicholas Iverson here, you can see in 9th, needs a big result here in Silverstone after some misfortune in the Red Bull Ring, and he was only able to finish in 12th. He heads into the Vale chicane in the club section of the circuit, and we will see what Iverson can do. Rounding through the final corner now and up towards the start-finish line onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. The number 48 across the line is going to be a big improvement for Nicholas Iverson. Pulls all the way to the right-hand side, and no, there won't be. So Iverson will remain in 9th spot. Jordan Johnson is going to start from 6th at a maximum, unless he is beaten by anyone else across the field. Ricardo Rivera, the only one in the top 5 still on a time, but again, there's not much improvements around the order. There is for Zach Doran, that's a 6th spot for him, so he does beat Jordan Johnson, and the number 10 is up into 6th position, finished 10th of course in race number 1. Drew Swank will qualify in 12th, finished 13th in race number 1. Thomas Toomey 14th, finished 15th in race number 1, so they're all going one better here. Thomas Toomey rounding through the final corners, very lucky to be in this phase, so wants to make the most of it.
Yeah, but got himself into that top 15, so it gives him every opportunity possible to get himself a chance to go to South Korea. The odds are stacked against him, but sometimes underdog performances can really surprise us, and you never know what's going to happen as we head out of qualifying. Then it's another 3 points heading Michael Menning's way as he claims yet another pole position in the USA region.
Yes, Michael Menning might have time to pack his bags in between this race and the end of it, because he just seems to be so far in front of everybody. It is himself and Kurt Van Outen-Reed on the front row. Ricardo Rivera will start 3rd, Guapono Patrick in 4th, Braden Werner in 5th, ahead of Zach Doran in 6th. Jordan Johnson will start from 7th, with Shane Ross in 8th. Nicholas Iverson starts in 9th, Tyler Limsnuken in 10th. Aaron Berkey will start in 11th, ahead of Drew Swank in 12th position. Then it is Josh Ross, Thomas Toomey and Paul Verbunen who will start in 15th. We've got a fabulous race coming up for you here in Silverstone, folks, but not before we get a brief word from one of our sponsors. Now, as we head to the grid here in Silverstone, not long to go. Kieran, top 5 in qualifying, top 5 in race number 1. Is it all sorted, or do we have still a lot to play for?
Oh, you and I both know that's never as easy as that. We've got 20 minutes on the clock then. It's over to the drivers. It's up to them to book their spot to South Korea. Let's see who can put names on tickets.
Let's have a look and see then. Michael Menning and Kurt Van Oltenried on the front row for the second time today. Then it is Ricardo Rivera in third spot, ahead of Quapono Patrick in fourth. The red lights are awaiting us here at Silverstone International Circuit. This is going to be a good one. It is the final stage before the World Final for the USA region, and we go racing here in the United Kingdom. Brilliant launch there for the fourth place man. Quapono Patrick might be able to challenge Rivera in towards the first corner. Menning is clearing away, but Kurt Van Oltenried tucked into the slipstream and might be able to dive one down the inside in towards turn number 4. Here is Jordan Johnson looking for a move as well. Around the outside, there's a huge lunge there from Zach Doran. He knows what's at stake. He knows he needs places, and Zach Doran has really gone for it on the number 29 and Braden Werner round the outside. Menning through the first complex nice and smoothly. Still there, Jordan Johnson, Zach Doran, Braden Werner all fighting. Werner leads to 2. Doran is all over the grass there to the right hand side. Gets back on the racing surface, gets back on the asphalt pretty quickly. But Zach Doran, that was a brave move down the inside.
Yeah, it was, and he knows what's at stake. As you said, you know, he's got to be making sure that he gets those moves, but he's got to also make sure he doesn't fall afoul of stewarding. Last race, he got a 10-second penalty for causing avoidable contact on lap 1. So those sorts of scenarios, you know, he got a penalty for lap 1 beforehand. He was certainly not afraid about getting his elbows out there and trying to get his spot into the top 5, applying all of that pressure there to Braden Werner, who is currently within that top 5 point scoring at the moment. But look at the front then. Michael Menning then in the lead right now and already trying to build on that gap.
Yeah, Michael Menning doing what he does best really, and that's pulling big gaps at starts of races, and he is doing that once again. It gets closer the further you go back. Still Kurt Van Oltenried in second, still Ricardo Rivera in third, still Quapono Patrick in fourth, but they are all closely bunched up and very close together. Zach Doran still looking very racy as they head into Stowe for the first time, and you can see a move down the inside and contact made, and that is Zach Doran who's got to bump up the inside, and Zach Doran very wide heading through Stowe. He was argy-bargy on the opening lap. That's Shane Ross, who I think he has made contact with. Back down the inside goes Zach Doran, and I tell you what, these two are having a right old go at it. Number 8, Zach Doran against number 8, Shane Ross against number 10, Zach Doran. You can see on the picture-in-picture there just how focused they are and just how eager they are to make moves. Here comes Zach Doran, back down the inside of Shane Ross. Oh, this is opportunistic from Zach Doran. I tell you what, he wants that trip to the World Final. He wants to get it, and he's doing everything for it. Back down the inside and towards turn number 3 goes to number 10. Still held around the outside from Shane Ross. This is exquisite defending from Ross, and that actually invites the number 48 down the inside. That is Nicholas Iverson, who we said needs a big result. He's now side by side with Zach Doran, exiting the loop and on towards Brooklyn, or down towards Brooklyn, I should say, here on the Wellington Straight.
Yeah, and it's getting all sorts of argy-bargy, elbows out, whatever you want to call it. Zach Doran once again up the inside there of Shane Ross, trying to find that way through. No way through in towards Brooklands, but now we head in towards Luffield. A couple of lines you can take through in towards Luffield then as we get back onto the path. I think that was Aaron Berkey getting a little bit sideways halfway through Luffield then, but managed to gather it back up. And in the attack for Zach Doran, it's left to Nicholas Iverson to grab the inside line going in towards Cobb's Corner here as we make our way onwards towards the old turn 1, the new turn 9, and again Zach Doran there slightly getting the back end out, running slightly wide there. That might open up an opportunity for the likes of Iverson and Berkey to try and find their way through. What it has done is it's bought Shane Ross a couple of car lengths to keep himself ahead, keep himself trying to settle down in this race, but it's impossible to settle down when you're looking for a top 5 place and you are having to work hard and battle your way through.
Yes, the scrapping is absolutely unbelievable, but the only thing is they've lost focus on what really matters, and that is the top 5 places as of now, which they have all sort of lost track of, and there is a bit of a schism in the field. Although it isn't the top 5 in this race that advance, it is the top 5 overall, but the top 5 in this race are currently the top 5 overall, so It is pretty much the top 5 here. You can see Quapono Patrick, one of them, rounding through the chicane. There is 0.8 of a second separating himself and Braden Werner, 1.4 separating himself and Ricardo Rivera right in front, as there is 15 Elantras rounding through and snaking their way single file in towards turn number 1 and turn number 2. 15 minutes to go in this one. We've had 5 minutes already raced, and I tell you what, it's been an exciting one so far. Currently Michael Menning, Kurt Van Otenried, Ricardo Rivera, Quapono Patrick, Braden Werner, Jordan Johnson, Shane Ross, Zach Dorn, Nicholas Iverson and Aaron Berkey, your top 10, with Limsnuken, Swank, Verbunen, Toomey and Ross, your remaining 5. Still very, very close in the mid-pack, that's for sure.
Very, very close indeed. And we said about, the top 5 at the moment are the top 5 in the previous race. So in theory, they will be progressing at this stage. And it might be a case of, they're probably happy with top 5. That'll book their spot. But what's also on the side as well are the cash prizes. You do get cash prizes for winning in second place. In fact, the top 20, or if you made it to the semi-final, you've got prize money on offer. In fact, if you make it this far, it's at least $300 you've got. So it's really worth trying to make your way through the field. It's really worth trying to get those extra positions if you can to get that little bit of a cash prize. And what's important in this race, if there are tiebreakers, this race result is the tiebreaker. So if you can try and get yourself ahead of the car in front, if you're, for example, Ricardo Rivera, you'll end up on the same points as Van Otenried if you get ahead. But because you finished second in the second race, and your opponent finished third in the second race, the tiebreaker decides that you finish second and walk away with $1,000.
And Jordan Johnson knows that he needs to try and get closer to that top 5. Jordan Johnson, of course, in the Apex Racing Academy number 12 from Aurora, Ohio. He finished 5th on race day 1, 2nd on race day 2, and came into this phase 3rd overall. Meaning he would have been tipped to advance potentially to the World Final, but is currently in 6th, is catching Braden Werner, however, so that could get very interesting between the two. Here's Tyler Limsnuken in the distinct number 45. He's currently in 11th spot. Again, was 6th coming into this phase, so you would have expected him to do a little bit better. We've had a couple of shocks around the field in regards to drivers outperforming their previous results, and maybe even some underperforming previous results, but still plenty to go in this race. 13 minutes to be exact for Limsnuken to potentially recover. But that battle between Werner and Johnson is going to be the interesting one. Jordan Johnson did finish 8th, however, in the earlier race, so that is going to hamper his progress here significantly.
Yeah, we'll just correct what I said earlier. Top 15, if you made it this far, at least $175 on the line here. So that you've locked that in. If you've made it this far, you've locked that in now. Winner getting $1,500, second place $1,000. So still not bad at all. Not really. Not a bad chunk of change for being one of the top 15 in the US region here in the Hyundai N Virtual Cup. But yeah, booking that spot to South Korea will be top of the list. Maybe as a side quest, if you like. Try and get that little bit more cash prize money. Spending
money, potentially. You know, you could have a nice meal out in Seoul for that.
Well, that's the thing. It's an all costs paid. So you could have that as a little bit of a side bonus as well. You just never know. It's your money to do what you will with it. But in the case of Ricardo Rivera, if you can get ahead of Kurt Van Otenried, you'll finish ahead of him in the standings, because the top 5, as we've already mentioned, are exactly the same. Braden Werner is thinking the same thing against Quapono Patrick in that battle for 4th place.
Yeah, and Braden Werner would probably like to cement himself a little bit further into the top 5 as well. Being the one on the chopping block is not necessarily the most comfortable position. The only saving grace for him is that it's Jordan Johnson behind and not Shane Ross, because if my maths are correct, if Jordan Johnson finished in front of Braden Werner and Werner finished 6th, Werner would still get in over Johnson. However, if it was Ross in 5th and Werner in 6th, it would be Shane Ross who gets in, not Braden Werner. So it's a bit of a complex situation, but as it stands now, Werner is still A-OK, but you can see him visually closing the gap to Quapono Patrick to maybe just even lower his heart rate, his BPM, for the next 10 minutes potentially. We're on board with Nicholas Iverson chasing down Zach Dorn for 8th.
Yeah, and all important important. All the drivers really need to focus on is finishing as high up the order as possible. I mean, in a sense, if the top 5 stay as they are, that would mean they all go through. So it's a case for Jordan Johnson here. He could try and cause a little bit of a seismic activity here. So too could Quapono Patrick, trying to see if he can find or that defensive line, try and keep Braden Werner right behind him as we head away through in towards Luffield. Then we get back onto the power then, riding on board then with Werner in the number 29, chasing down Quapono Patrick. He has got Jordan Johnson behind him as well. We head away through in towards Woodcote and towards Copse Corner. Here is flying to right-hander, the old turn 1, heading our way through in towards Copse Corner. You see Braden Werner getting a little bit of understeer on entry, then perhaps carrying too much speed on the entry, but he'll be able to recover because Quapono Patrick will give him that toe then down the hanger straight. He just needs to make sure he gets Maggot and Beckett absolutely spot on here. This is one that really does reward a really good line. The less momentum you lose at that point, the better your run down the hanger straight. And look at that, Braden Werner really did get a good run out of Maggot and Beckett here. He's closing and closing. Does he look for the move? He's certainly looking for a move up the inside in towards Stowe Corner. Then Braden Werner up the inside of Quapono Patrick. Werner gets the move done so far. Quapono Patrick sees the opening, sees the opportunity as we head away down towards Vale. It'll be on the outside line for Quapono Patrick, or perhaps not. He tucks back in and perhaps looking for a move up the inside. Was there contact between the two of them? Well, Werner has to take a deeper line, but as we make our way through in towards the final corners now and on towards the Hamilton Straight, it's Werner ahead of Quapono Patrick. But look at Jordan Johnson chomping at the bit. He senses an opportunity too.
Yes, this squabbling is inviting Jordan Johnson back into play, and there was no contact made. Braden Werner just absolutely butchering the braking zone. He has recovered now though. Here goes Jordan Johnson barreling down towards turn number 3, looking to force the issue and make his way past. He's going to force Quapono Patrick, I should say, to take a very shallow line in towards the arena section. And exiting turn number 5, Jordan Johnson's going to have the slipstream down towards Brooklands. Needs to really make a move now because he probably needs 4th to try get himself in. Defensive manoeuvre from Quapono Patrick, pivots to the inside. Jordan Johnson going to go the long way about it. Jordan Johnson going to go the long way about it. The door doesn't close, it's still open, and Johnson steps his way through the framework. What a brilliant move by Jordan Johnson. There's a nudge on the exit of the corner, but Johnson is still ahead, galloping after Braden Werner. He sees his target, and is Bull chasing after a red flag, the 12 chasing after the 29.
Brilliant stuff. That's Quapono Patrick down to 6th place now, so maybe the warning signs for Quapono Patrick. He's got to get back up into that top 5 as we make our way through in towards Maggots and Beckett's. Jordan Johnson with the move to get himself ahead, but is he close enough to Braden Werner to benefit from the toe as we'll make our way through in towards Beckett's now and towards Chapel Curve? We'll head our way down the hanger straight. This is where Quapono Patrick and see if he can find the way back past Jordan Johnson. How is his exit out of the Chapel Curve onwards towards Stowe Corner? He's not close enough on this occasion, but with only 7 minutes left on the clock, it's a case here for Quapono Patrick. What turned out to be a place in the top 5 perhaps. In fact, he was 4th place a couple of laps ago. He's now in 6th, and also he's got Shane Ross right behind him as well. For Quapono Patrick, he has to make sure he doesn't fall any further down.
Yeah, Quapono Patrick racing for the Sim Racing Alliance team in the number 59 car. It's definitely sketchy stuff for Quapono as of right now. Could do it retaking that place from Jordan Johnson, but Jordan just seems to have the pace over him. Shane Ross there down in 7th position, looking to probably get past Quapono Patrick to try save himself. And you can see Zach Dorn and Nicholas Iverson scrapping just a little bit further back. For now, Zach and Nicholas would not advance, but remember, as we said, every single position is worth a bigger prize. So they're racing for prize, they're racing for pride, and they're going to give absolutely everything to try and gain the bigger spots. You can see Iverson trying it round the outside, but no avenue for him to cut through. Zach Doran will stay in front. Still Michael Menning, your race leader. Kurt Van Otenreid in second, Ricardo Rivera in third. They are nicely up the road from all the squabbles. Then it is Bryden Werner, Jordan Johnson, Quapono Patrick and Shane Ross. Jordan Johnson is not catching Bryden Werner. That puts him in a sketchy position. He of course finished 8th in the earlier race, currently in 5th. Bryden Werner finished finished in 5th, currently in 4th as well. Quapono Patrick finished in 4th, currently in 6th. So as it stands, Werner and Patrick would be going through. Johnson would go out.
This moment, and we'll try and keep up with all of the maths involved as well. Anything we say would be provisional, but there is Aaron Berkey make his way through in towards Chapel Curve with the VR headset on as well, as he tries to chase down Drew Swank, heading our way through in towards I should say the right-hander of Stowe, as we head away through. Currently 12th place right now, chasing Drew Swank for 11th place. There is Shane Ross, meanwhile, looking for that move. He thought about a move up the inside in towards the club corner section. Quapono Patrick shuts the door there. Shane Ross then makes his way through in towards the final couple of corners. It's clear to see Shane Ross has got the bit between his teeth, and Quapono Patrick right ahead of him will have to keep looking in his mirrors because he's lost a little bit of time against Jordan Johnson. It's a case now where Quapono Patrick in the last 4 minutes really does have to hang on here.
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting because Shane Ross finished 6th earlier. If he gets past Quapono Patrick here, he would also have 6th, so that puts him in contention to advance. So Shane Ross making the one move would put him in a better spot than, say, Jordan Johnson making the one move. But let's have a look then and see, can Shane Ross get the run on Quapono Patrick? He's got 4 minutes-ish to complete this one, and these two are going to be gunning for this. Quapono Patrick in 6th spot, keeping it nicely in front, at least in towards Brooklands and in towards Luffield, and Shane Ross might have to wait for the back part of the circuit, but he's got really close to the apex of the corner. Look at this, look at him, you can see him almost biting his tongue, just praying that he can plant the throttle earlier and earlier and earlier, every single lap and every single corner, and just doing everything to potentially secure himself an all-inclusive trip to Seoul, South Korea. Just not doing enough as of now. You can see him running wide, heading through Copse Corner, right on the tail of Quapono Patrick, hot on the heels in towards Maggots and Beckett. Shane Ross is really having a good time, although as we say that, he has lost a lot of time heading in towards that corner.
He's pushing hard though, isn't he? He knows he has to make his way through. He has to find an opportunity, get himself as far up the order as possible as we head away onwards then towards Stowe once again. And I'm sure Jordan Johnson will be hoping and thinking the same thing as we head our way through in there in towards Stowe then. Shane Ross getting really close to the back of Quapono Patrick. You don't want to be making contact at this stage in the race with it all on the line. A little look in the mirror then for Shane Ross then as he tries to find a gap against Quapono Patrick. No way through. Less than 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Zach Doran chasing down Nicholas Iverson for 8th place.
Yeah, here is Zach Doran, who had a cracking start to the race, but has fallen by the wayside a little bit and is in 9th position, chasing down Nicholas Iverson in this battle for 8th spot. Remember, of course, advancement not the only thing these drivers are playing for, a prize as well. 2 minutes to go here in the US regional phase of the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. This is the regional semi-finals, and there's still a lot at stake, still a lot to play for. It's going to come right down to the wire here in regards to who can advance and who can take what spots, and who can take what points. But Michael Menning comfortable at the front, and dare I say Kurt Van Otenreid and Ricardo Rivera also comfortable in 2nd and 3rd. This is Shane Ross you're looking at, who is our real talking point in the latter stages of this heat and today as a whole. I think Austria was a bit of a surprise as well with Shane Ross's promising pace. He's going for it once again down towards Copse Corner.
He is indeed looking to try and size up Copse Corner. Not normally an overtaking opportunity, but certainly feels he likes to go down the inside. Quapono Patrick feels the need to defend that one, and that might cost him momentum here. Look at Shane Ross now, chomping at the bit, looking to take full advantage as we go side by side now through in towards Maggots and Beckett. Quapono Patrick just about stays ahead there, but does he have to take a compromised line? That certainly doesn't look like a compromised line. He's able to take that line he wants and make his way through then. Running a little bit wide onto the grass though, but he keeps a hold of that 6th place. It really is a case now. He's got to try and hold on to this position, defend it as hard as he can. Shane Ross, that determined, steely look in his eye there as he tries to find a way through in towards Stowe, I should say. Again, looking for a move up the inside. He finds that gap. He manages to get the gap and get the car alongside. Then there's door-to-door contact. Quapono Patrick on the inside, heading away in towards Club Corner, with Shane Ross still trying to find that inside line for the final couple of corners. No way through. Quapono Patrick taking a tighter line through in towards those final couple of corners. Michael Menning has started the final lap of this race then for Quapono Patrick. There's 5.8 kilometres for him to hang on to 6th place.
Yes, thankfully for Shane Ross, Michael Menning's unbelievable pace has given them one more lap here. And is Shane Ross going to go down the inside? Goes for the outside here. He knows that's going to be the inside for the next section. And defensive line taken from Quapono Patrick. Shane Ross is going to try the up and under. That's a big mistake. That's a big mistake from Quapono Patrick. He's clipped the inside raised curb, and that has really compromised his run down towards the left-hander. He's not just under pressure from Shane Ross, he's under pressure from Nicholas Iverson as well, and if Iverson was to get involved in this one, that really would be a spanner in the works. Quapono Patrick defends in towards the left-hander. Shane Ross not able to find a way through. Can he find a way through in towards Luffield? No, this really is a stellar defensive effort from Quapono Patrick so far, and Shane Ross is finding this really, really difficult. It might have to be a lunge similar to one on the last lap in towards Cops Corner though. He's got a phenomenal slipstream, and here comes Shane Ross to the outside. Nicholas Iverson not doing Ross any favours. Shane Ross with the ultimate test of bravery round the outside through Cops Corner, has to back out, doesn't have the nerves of steel for it, doesn't really have the aerodynamical grip either to go for that one. They head through Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. You can see the three of them just in the background, and this could be a deciding manoeuvre for who advances to the World Final in Korea or not. We will have to get the provisional maths after the race. Here we go then, exiting Maggots, Beckett and Chapel onto the hangar straight for one last time. 770 metres of it. Shane Ross needs every single inch. Pivoting to the outside goes Shane Ross. He doesn't have enough straight line speed it seems here. He's going to sling it round the outside. He's going to give it everything. Is it going to be enough? Potentially not. Runs off the circuit, has to rejoin behind. Michael Menning seals the victory and will travel to the World Final undefeated. Shane Ross threw everything and even more at this one, but wasn't able to find a way past.
Quapono Patrick, can he hold on to the line then? Yes, he can. I think he'll take the checkered flag, will he? Across the line in 6th place with Shane Ross in 7th, Nicholas Iverson in 8th place, Zach Doran in 9th. And I'm sure if you're Shane Ross, Nicholas Iverson, Zach Doran, you were just hoping for one more lap there. But fair play to Quapono Patrick. We talked about a pressure cooker scenario in this, and Quapono Patrick really had to hold on, really had to do all the defending he could and try and book that spot to Korea. But a perfect run for Michael Menning. Every single point he could have scored in the regional qualifiers and in the semi-finals, he has provisionally got them all. What a performance from him.
Incredible from Michael Menning, and he will carry the Star Spangled Banner across most of the continents in a bubble of confidence. He is your winner here in race number 2, ahead of Kurt Van Altenreid in 2nd, Ricardo Rivera in 3rd, Braden Werner in 4th, ahead of Jordan Johnson in 5th, Quapono Patrick in 6th with Shane Ross in 7th, Nicholas Iverson in 8th with Zach Doran in 9th, Tyler Limzanukin in 10th, ahead of Drew Swank in 11th. Aaron Berkey drops to 12th in the latter stages, Thomas Toomey in 13th, Paul Verbunen in 14th, with Josh Ross coming home in 15th position, but still taking $125 with him. Definitely not a bad day at the office, but what a phenomenal battle. A credit to them all, that was really superb.
Oh yeah, Quapono Patrick having to defend there, Shane Ross giving it everything, and again, time and time again, he was trying to take a different line to what Quapono Patrick was doing to try and just open the door ever so slightly, but Patrick managed to hold firm. And if math serves me well, I'm not going to confirm anything, we'll have our sort of top 5 provisional graphic That will confirm the maths for us. But I think Quapono Patrick might have just done enough with results around him. That was crucial that he stuck in that 6th place. So critical that he managed to make that stick. But yeah, phenomenal effort from Patrick. Phenomenal effort for Shane Ross as well. I could have watched that for another couple of laps. I'm sure Quapono Patrick is very relieved that was that.
Yeah, myself, Kieran and Shane Ross would have liked 1 or 2 more laps out of Quapono Patrick. Yeah, definitely not. It really was the flip of a coin there at the end, folks, who was going to advance or not. It was all depending on that battle between Quapono Patrick and Shane Ross, and Quapono, with really impressive defending on that last lap, forced Shane to the outside every single time, and at Silverstone that's usually not your best bet. Shane needed the inside through Stowe on the last lap, didn't get it, had to go for a miracle, and that of course just wasn't going to work. So we got to commend both Quapono and Shane, and of course the top 3 as well, who we didn't really talk about. They weren't in any battles, but that's because they drove off into the sunset. So really across the board, I can't stress enough how many commendable performances there was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the top 3, as you said, we didn't see a lot of them, but that's normally a good thing from the driver's point of view. If you're leading the way, if you're in that podium spot, and we don't see a lot of you on the broadcast, probably means you're doing everything right. Nothing's going too far wrong. But yeah, Michael Menning, all points that were available for him in this regional qualifiers and the semi-finals, he picked all of them. And I'm pretty sure he would have got fastest lap on there. We'll wait for confirmation. If you see 60 points, Michael Menning, it means he got that fastest lap of this race.
Yeah, something tells me he might have. Now, of course, we're celebrating a lot of good performances, Kieran, but it is the end of the road for a lot of drivers. We will come to that later, and we have confirmation of your provisional top 5. Michael Menning, Kurt Van Altenried, Ricardo Rivera, Braden Werner, and Quapono Patrick. Those 5 are going to be representing the United States of America at the HyundaiN Virtual Cup World Final. Really impressive from them, but as I was just about to say to you, we did lose a lot of drivers as well, Kieran, but they can definitely be proud of their achievements so far.
Oh, they can hold their head up high, that's for sure. I mean, they're walking away with cash prizes as well. Top 5, at least $500 for you, but that goes all the way down to 15th place with $175. So you're not leaving at this stage empty-handed, and obviously we want to see them back racing again in these Hyundai Elantras, because they gave us fantastic racing all the way through. You know, thoroughly impressive stuff from the USA region. And obviously now, as you say, we have now half the grid decided for the World Final.
We do, and we're going to hear from a few of those drivers confirmed their place in the World Final now very shortly. Let's hear from Ricardo Rivera first. Hello, Ricardo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Congratulations, you have a suitcase to pack. You are heading to the World Final.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It was a comfortable drive at the end in Silverstone. Did it feel the same from the sim rig?
From the what, sorry?
Did it feel comfortable for you?
Yeah, so Silverstone felt comfortable. Actually, because at first I was thinking that the people who go by to Korea were the top 5 from just Silverstone. I practiced a lot more Silverstone, but at the end, like, I was more comfortable with Red Bull.
Now, of course, the dynamic changes a little bit for the World Final. You've been competing against the USA region. You're now not necessarily teammates, but you will be working together with them. Are you looking forward to meeting some of the guys and getting to know them a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. There are people that I've seen in the sim racing were competed against, but basically this is my first time being at this level of competition, so I'm really proud. I put a lot of effort in it this week to make it happen, and well, there we are. And not just from the people within the US, and it's not everyone from Europe, Korea, and China too.
And then the 3 tracks for the World Final, of course, Nürburgring, Catalunya in Barcelona, and then Spa-Francorchamps. Do you have a favourite of any of those 3 and one you're looking forward to?
I think possibly Spa.
Ricardo, congratulations once again, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks to you and all the people who work in the organization of this event.
Pleasure to chat to Ricardo there, and he is of course looking forward to that World Final in Spa-Francorchamps especially, which is a fabulous circuit and one of 3 that we will be racing at come January 11th. We will have another interview then with one of our top 5. We will hear from the second place man in that race too. Kurt, hello, can you hear me?
Yep, hello.
Congratulations, second place in race number 1, second place in race number 2. That books your spot on the plane. Are you happy with that?
I'm not a huge fan of planes, but a second is definitely really cool, and opportunity to represent the USA. Yeah, I don't think I could turn that down, so yeah, I'm super stoked.
On the racing tonight then, it was of course pretty comfortable second place finishes for you in both races. Did it feel the same for yourself?
Definitely not. I think like my mentality going into this was that throughout the semis, and maybe you guys covered this in the cast, but I think it was pretty clear throughout the competition that there was about maybe 6 or 7 of us that all could have taken what I'd call the remaining 4 slots, because Michael was doing his thing. So it was definitely a lot of pressure to kind of put myself ahead of the group and then make sure I avoid any incidents at the start. So yeah, that way I could just let the race pace take it from there.
And then you mentioned that you're excited to represent USA. When we see US athletes on a world stage, they're all very, very proud to represent the country. Just talk us through what you're thinking now about how you are going to represent your country on the global stage.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people would call US athletes a bit obnoxious.
No,
but
I'm proud.
Yeah, no, but I think the best way to represent the US would just be to go out there and yeah, try to just get the best positions we can. I don't think there's hiding the fact that our team, so to speak, right, has a bit of a hill to climb, but we got 1 month to prepare, and I think now the task's on us to really just be as prepared as we can and score as many points as we can.
Potentially maybe grab some setup tips off Michael, maybe.
Oh man, I mean, he's been a tough nut when it comes to that already, so I'd hope he's a little more willing as a teammate, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure, I'm hoping the 5 of us can just, you know, maybe sit down together and work through what we found with the car, because, I mean, those EU guys are just on another level right now, and yeah, we got a hill to climb, so maybe we just pull our heads together, we can find whatever we're missing. I hope it's not just skill, because on a pride level, that definitely would hurt.
Gert, thank you very, very much for that. We wish you the best of luck come the World Final, and who knows, we might be places as well.
Sweet, thanks.
Great to hear from our second place finisher then, after the 2 races tonight, and for Kurt's sake, he's able to get some setup tips off Michael Menning, who we will be hearing from next. And finally, hello Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So, I'm just going to paint a picture here. So far, you are the only driver heading to the World Final defeated. Wow, just how have you...
It's a good feeling. I knew my pace going into these 2 races was looking pretty good. Made sure to get a lot of laps in. Again, EU lap times were definitely a shock to see yesterday, but made it happen. And I was doing not to the very top, not the Mouse guys, but I was doing mildly comparative lap times compared to the EU guys. So happy with that again. pretty stoked. I've had technical difficulties before in big races, so that was my biggest worry going through all this. Just nothing happened. Just Wi-Fi don't go out, wheel don't disconnect. Like, I just wanted to get through it, and very relieving that has happened.
You've kind of answered my second question, but I'm still going to ask it anyways. You have been comparing yourself to the EU guys a lot throughout this process. Are you more confident now that you can compete with them compared to the start of the regional qualifiers?
I think I can compete with everyone other than Moritz and Max. They are on another level. Silverstone, my PB wasn't crazy, but them doing 0.2s in qualifying, I can't even begin to imagine where that is. So, not quite competitive with them, but I think with the rest of the grid, I think it would be doable. Pace was still definitely a little lacking compared to them, but got a lot of time before the final now, so I'm looking forward to putting up a race with them.
Do you like packing suitcases?
This will be my second international, or going out of the country.
Oh, wow.
I just went out of the country for the Motorsport games in Valencia a couple months back now, and that was my first time going out of the country, so that was already a shock. And this one, this is going to be a lot more shocking to me. So it's really exciting stuff.
I'll try put in a bit of a nice word, get you business class seat. Don't worry about that one. Genuinely unbelievable to see what you have done out on track. Myself and Kieran, you have gone another level of shocking us. So congratulations and well done on that, and best of luck for that world final. And also Kurt is looking to steal some setups off you, so I'll leave that with you.
Well, thank you very much. I really look forward to it. So thank you very much. Thank you for commentating the races. It's always appreciated.
Thank you very much, Michael, and we will be talking to you again soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So great to hear from all three there, Kieran, and it's safe to say they're all very happy with how tonight has gone.
I would be too. Yeah, made it into the top 5, cash prizes for everyone who made it this far, and obviously there's more to win when they get to the world final. And what's great is, Europe, we've had USA, we've decided half the grid for the world final. There's still half to go, but I mean, the drivers we've spoken to, very happy, very excited to visit South Korea and represent their region on the grand stage in the world final. I'm thoroughly looking forward to the 11th of January.
Yes, cannot wait. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And we don't even know 10 of the people who are going to be there yet, folks. We have Korea, we have China coming up very, very soon. Make sure you stick around for them. Brilliant team on those two streams as well, so if you are from Korea, are from China, or you're just interested in both of those regions, please do feel free to check them out. But for now, from myself and Kieran, that is all we have time for, folks. We will hopefully see you again very, very soon here for the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. That is it for the USA region. However, those 5 guys will prepare themselves now for the world final and pack their suitcases, as Michael, admittedly, I don't think is looking very much forward to. A big thanks to our sponsors that you can see below, myself and Kieran. A big thanks to Hyundai, the N program, of course, Logitech, Sixa, and Soup as well. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Drifting away, moving apart, never stopping, never hoped it to start. Now I'm feeling a space surrounding my heart. I'll never run away. But I'll never be the same. I'll never run away. But I'll never be the same. Drifting away, moving apart, never stopping, never hoped it to start. Now I'm feeling the space surrounding